I'm going to show you how to take a t-shirt like this one and turn it into a belly dance crop top just like this one. And it's going to fit you perfectly because you're going to make it out of your own t-shirt, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. Marhaba, I'm belly dancer Jensuya, helping you to achieve your belly dance dreams with the technique and culture of belly dance, which includes how to make a belly dance crop top out of a t-shirt. Let's get started. Step one is to choose and mark your t-shirt. You can use a classic heavyweight style t-shirt that you may have picked up as a souvenir on a trip or an event. You can see I made this crop top out of a souvenir from our performance at the Turkish Festival in Washington. And if you're part of the worldwide Shimmy Mob event, this would be a really fun thing to do to your Shimmy Mob t-shirt, which you're supposed to wear at the event, because then you can make it a little bit more belly dancey instead of being just a t-shirt. In this tutorial, we're going to use a more fitted t-shirt that's thinner fabric. So put on the undergarment that you're gonna wear with the crop top, put the t-shirt on, and let's head to the mirror to mark it for the correct size. So wearing your t-shirt with the undergarments that you plan to wear with the crop top, raise your arms up and get into nice belly dance posture, and then take that spot below your sternum and below the bottom of your sports bra or whatever it is that you're wearing, and put your finger there, and then take something. I'm using tailor's chalk. I'll show that to you in a minute, and I'm going to mark that spot right there with just a little piece of chalk. Now you'll see, get that when I pull the shirt down, normally it's like that is too low, right? Here's the thing, I've done it where I just look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, that's the perfect crop top, except that when you do this, and we are doing this for dancing, you're going to flash things that you don't want to flash. So very important step. Now, you can always cut it shorter, so be sure to move your hands around, do this sort of thing. I'm up here and I've cut it there. If you don't have tailor's chalk, you can use a safety pin where you can, with your hand up, just hold your finger there and then go and mark that little spot like that. So, but here's the thing. You're probably going to end up making a lot of these like I've done. So you're going to want to get some tailor's chalk, which you can get at a fabric store, which you'll have fun with too. It just makes it easier to mark stuff, especially in our next step. Step two is to draw the crop mark and then cut the t-shirt. And the first thing to do is to fold the t-shirt, not straight like this, but from side seam to side seam. If you don't have side seams on your t-shirts, which some of them don't, you're matching up basically the middle of the armpit. You'll match the middle of the armpits on either side so that you've got it from front to back with the armpits. And I'm gonna flatten it out nice and smooth like this. And this is the front of my t-shirt. That's another thing to be really careful of. You want to make sure that you're cutting the proper way. So because I'm used to doing this by cutting the front away from me, I'm going to flip this. So I now have the hem of the shirt on my right side, the top armpits on the left, and I'm smoothing the fabric out all the way through there. Now I can see my mark right here from tailor's chalk, which I'm going to darken a little bit. Okay, and again, if you don't have this right now, you can just use a pin. I'm going to take the back fold and I'm going to fold it over here to just about match, and I'm going to mark that same spot there and then flip that over so I can see that spot again. So here's the front of my t-shirt. Right here, the back and the side. Now I'm going to draw my crop mark. So I'm going to take the chalk. If you don't have the chalk, use your pencil or whatever. And I'm going to basically from that line go pretty much straight across to the armpit area, maybe slightly take it down, and then I'm going to go kind of across and then curve sharply down. These are going to be my ties. I also have, this is just a quickie little pull-out tape, which you can use also to mark. I'm about 9.5 inches from the hem. I can do that also at the armpits So I don't ever want to go above that. And so what I'm going to do is kind of freehand this-ish to there. So I'm sort of drawing this on right here, get that out of the way, kind of like this. Now I'm sort of going to go at the bottom here, I'm going to take about that much. My ties are going to be narrow at the bottom. Maybe that's 3/4 of an inch or so. And then let me see, we're going to do sort of a nice-ish curve, kind of around like that. So I'm kind of going, whoops, let me do this so you can see, kind of going lightly, and then just going to start getting more space from the side seam under the armpits. Now, you can also freehand cut it, which is fine, but, you know, put on some nice music, listen to one of our other videos as you're doing this, and take your time and just enjoy the process. Okay, so there we go. And again, we're side to side. Make sure your ties are in the front, not the back. I've made that mistake too. Okay, measure 27 times and then cut. I think we're ready. These are not sewing scissors, but these are very sharp craft scissors. If you're using basic craft scissors for paper cutting and stuff, this can be a pain in the rear end because they're not usually sharp enough. So if you're going to make a lot of these, you know you are, invest in some sewing scissors. Okay, now I'm going to go from the bottom just because it's easier and I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So now without unfolding it, now what we're going to do is cut on that fold, the front where the ties are, we're going to cut right up to our line right there, and then we're going to go a little bit more, and we're going to refine that in front of the mirror. You're going to want to watch that. So here we go, keeping that folded. Okay, I'm going to cut right along that fold, holding the two pieces together here. A little tricky to start, but we can do it. Right up like this. So I'm making my two ties. Just like this, right up here. And here I am at the mark. Now I'm going to go a little bit higher because I want that to cover in here, but I need a little more room to cinch it nice and tight and give kind of a curve. So I'm going to go, right now I'm just going to go maybe an inch or so above. I will most likely, and you probably will too, have to cut higher, but we're going to wait to try it on. Then, because these are not fitted, it's a little bit more fitted than the bulky t-shirts, but not that fitted. It's not like stretchy like this. We're going to do the same thing in the back because, and again, you may have seen other DIY things where they just crank it down in front, and what it does is it pulls all the excess fabric here and bunches it up. Doesn't look good. So here's my cool little trick. On the back, we've still got that folded in half. We're going to cut up to maybe there, handy little ruler, about 3 inches. Cut a slit right up the back to about, okay, I'll mark it so that, you know, about there. Again, we may make that more. And we're making little mini ties in the back to cinch it down. So I'm gonna, right here, should I flip it so you can see it better? I held it, flipped it. There's my mark, a little bit more so you can see. See, there it is. I'm gonna cut right up there like that. Here we go. Come here. Come here. There we go. Cut that right up there. That's our cincher. We're making our cincher ties. Now, what I'm going to do now is cut, watch this, a little bit curve out here, and then a little bit curve. You can't see if I do that. Okay, let's go this way. And I'm taking maybe 3 inches and just cutting these curved areas out so that the ties aren't so bulky. That's the thing with this DIY t-shirt stuff, is that, you know, there's some, you want to reduce some of the bulk, otherwise it just looks, you know, I don't know, too chunky. Okay, so See those? Now we're going to cut those out through both layers. There's the top of the slit. Both layers. Here's one coming out right here. I really like this fabric. These are nice little t-shirts. Okay, there's one. Boom. And here's the other. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to tie those so that you can have it really, you know, cute and fitted. Now you can make you can make them out of the thicker fabric. That works too. It gives a different look. Sorry, I felt like a fly or something. Here we go. And boom, that thing. Oops, a little bit of gunkies there. Let's see how it looks. Instant gratification with t-shirt designs, because you don't have to hem. So there's the front with our little ties. Here's the back with our little cincher tie. Before we tie the front, we're going to tie the back cincher ties. So I'm taking each little tie and doing a little square knot, pulling that sort of up there, and then this side. Let's go try it on in the mirror, and then we'll go on to the next step of doing the neckline and sleeves. So here it is on the back, and see how the little cincher knot pulls it in so that the side seams are still underneath my sides. And here's the mark that we made, and here's the extra little bit that I cut up. So to tie it, I'm just going to do again a square knot, crank that down, and then again, and see how that is. Very cute. Now I'm feeling like I want this a little bit snugger, so what I'm going to do is snugger underneath is I'm going to cut up a little bit more so I can crank more down on the ties, and I'm just going to cut very carefully, just like this. I'm going to go straight up. If you want to do it, like, be careful, put it back on the table. It's a lot of trying on and off, and I'm just doing, oops, maybe another ½ inch or so. Sometimes I go more, so let's try that now. Could actually tuck that right under your bra too, if you want. Which really, I mean, this is secure. It's not going anywhere, and really great for hot weather because you can throw it in the wash too. Very cute look. If you want it to be a little bit sexier, you can cut the neckline and cut the sleeves. So you can leave them as chole sleeves. You can, and try, just play around in the mirror. You can cut these, roll this up to see, oh, what would just a little cap sleeve? Like you can cut cap sleeves. Cap sleeve just means shorten it, so we can just cut that off, or we can fringe it back to the sewing table so that we can cut the neckline and the sleeves. Step 3 is to mark and cut the neckline of your crop top. One idea is to do a boat neck, which is a very shallow cut but very wide across the shoulders. Another one is a scoop neck, which is rounded. Or what we're going to do on this one is a V-neck, just a little bit bigger opening and with a deeper plunge on this one. So lay your t-shirt flat. So I'm going here and I'm going to just make a mark there at about 2½ inches. Then 1 inch, and I'm going to go along this seam right here, and I'm going to mark inch, and then another one there, and maybe one more. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go inch, and then inch, and again, this is t-shirt art. Shabby chic, doesn't have to be perfect. You could finish this thing off, but that's not what this is about. Okay, now I'm going to fair this into that point right there. And so I'm going to take I made a little X there, the center line, and then as deep as I want to go, and I'm going to go to that last mark, and I'm going to just kind of do that with the chalk. See how handy the chalk is? Okay, and then the other side. And that one, just like that. Okay, And then you sort of eyeball it. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. And then on the back, I'm going to also do an inch back there. And so here, because it's curved and I want to match that shoulder area, I measured from this point here, so I'm going to continue that measuring along there. Little ruler, 1 inch, I'm going to do it there, mark, and then kind of in here. So you can see that they sort of match up, and then measure that right along. Now, if you are new to belly dance, you haven't been to the channel yet, you're going to want to do that because we have, I think, over 150 videos on there. And we have a whole playlist that's called New to Belly Dance Start Here. And it has a lot of things like the latest one that we added to that one is called What is Belly Dance? Simple, simple, simple question. I kid you not. For years, I have been trying to define belly dance in a way that makes sense to me and that matches up with other people's ideas. Everybody has a different idea with art. And then let me know your thoughts on it and if that's what you knew what it was. Okay, back marked, front marked. Now the scissors. So I'm going to start here through the collar area. That part's easy. When I get to this chunky part, I'm going to go very tiny, tiny little pieces with my scissors till I get through so I don't accidentally cut all the way through. Now I'm going to go right up to that line, boom, and then I'm going to, see how I have my hand underneath? Also learn the hard way, if you lay it down, you can accidentally cut the other fabric underneath, which is not fun. And I'm going to, again, little strokes going through that thick part, going through matching. Now, as I'm getting to this part of the chalk, I'm looking where I want to go, which you've heard me say on the DIY t-shirt hip scarf. Also, it's a game, just a metaphor for dance and life, being where you are now and looking where you're going. And getting ready to match the end, my hand underneath still so I don't go through the fabric. That goes there. And voila. Step 4 is to jazz up the sleeve. Lay the shirt flat on the table, line up the hem of the sleeve, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to cut off about 2.5 inches because this sleeve was long, and I just decided that that would be kind of a nice amount. You can make it shorter if you want, or just cut off the hem. And then down here I'm going to go just about almost to the seam there, just like that, the armpit seam, and then kind of using my nifty little handy dandy ruler, I'm going to do a kind of sketch on that line of what I'm going to cut, like that. So basically that's going to go away 2.5 inches, right? Okay, scissors, here we go. Wider at the top, almost to nothing at the armpit. Cutting through both layers, just like this, all the way through. And we're going to do the same on the other side. After we're done, let's finish this one side. Okay, so there's our little cap sleeve, before and after. So keeping it flat also, I'm going to flip this over because it's easier for me cutting this direction. Still flat, I'm going to, like we did the ties, hold those 2 layers together and cut right up that fold, right on up to the shoulder. Not cutting through the seam though, just right to there. Then I'm going to cut narrow fringes right here, and I'm keeping these, I mean, if you want to know for real, I'm keeping these at about, yep, 1/4 inch. Nice and narrow because it's sleeves, it's not like the hip scarf. If you saw that video, you're going to need to make one of those to match. And if you haven't already. Those were a little bit wider, but I'm keeping these nice and narrow, so I'm going to cut right on up to the seam, but not through the seam, just like this. Right about here, my last 2.5 inches or so, seems to be a theme, doesn't it? 2.5 inches. I'm not going to do any more fringe there. I'm just going to cut off that little bit of sleeve there next to the seam, because it's just under the arm, and I don't know, maybe those little fringes would stick in your armpit and feel irritating while you're dancing. So here we go, and off with that. Good. And then to give it a little bit more of a nifty look, take the fringes and pull them, sort of stretch them a little bit, and just like that, give them a little pull, like that. Nice. And then that's what that sleeve looks like. So I'm going to do that to the other side now, and then we're going to try it on, and then I'm going to show you, keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to tailor it. Sometimes when you cut that, it becomes loose. I'm going to show you how to tighten it up. So keep watching. Let's go try it on and then do the final tweaking for the fit. The final fitting. So again, we're going to do a square knot, nice and snug there. And here it is back. And we can roll up these sides. Now, as I was saying when we were cutting, sometimes when you make this wider, it makes it looser. I'd like it to be a little bit snugger. So again, I'm going to do the same thing that we did before with a tiny little bit of a cut, a little bit more, and I can do the same thing to the back. I'm not going to do it now because you get what I'm saying. You would take this, take it off, put it on the cutting table, undo that, cut that slit a little bit higher so that you can scrunch down more fabric. And then this one, oh yeah, see, that feels better. Even just a tiny bit. Boom. Tuck those. I like that idea of tucking it under, because you know it's going to stay in place there. Okay, now let me see. Hey, looking pretty good. And I love the sleeves like this. So let's give it a try with Bob playing the drum. If you love this video, here's how to let me know. Hit that like button, leave a comment saying, I loved it, Jensuya. Subscribe to the channel and share the video with the members of your troop so you can all have cool matching crop tops. We'll see you on the next video.